Dr. Anita, what inspired you to start On My Own Driving School?
Monica, I am crazy for driving. I love cars, and I'm really very very crazy. Now you'll think that okay, what is the big deal about it? Everybody drives nowadays. Big deal comes when I'll tell you that I'm a waist down paralyzed person, and because of that, it was a challenge in initial years of my life to have the mobility. So I was dependent mostly on many people, my parents, my siblings, and all, to go from one place to another place. So eventually, it's like I started modifying. Started driving a modified car, and then I started driving it. And many people would come and ask me, how am I driving? So I had shown my car to them, the kind of retrofitting I have had in my car. So that's how I realized that why these people are coming to me. Why are they, there are so many driving schools in India. Why they are not going there? So I actually learned from my mother. So my mother taught me how to drive a car, and then eventually I started driving. So many people would come ask me all those questions. Everything happened, and I've been driving for the last 10 years. So in that situation, I found that I did a little market survey on this, like why people are coming to me, and I found that there are hardly any driving school in India which is meant for people with disabilities. So there are certain reasons which came out in that. So technology, infrastructure, social taboos, and everything. These type of outcomes were there in my market research, and then I thought, let's start with it. So I found it. The basic reason is mobility independence. People were looking for mobility independence. They wanted freedom to go from one place to another place. So in short, I can say that my own personal life. So in short, I can say that my personal life narrative, my experiences, my own journey of being independent became a reason of starting drive on my own. So it's drive on my own means I'm driving my life myself, being independent and completely free from any kind of mobility dependencies. So that's the
Brit.
reason why I started this.
Yeah, it's indeed so insightful to know, your journey. So I'm sure you would have come across some challenges to establish this brand.
Yeah, so Monica, the idea was well received, means that a lot of people were kind of very overwhelmed to see that, okay, there is such driving school for people with disabilities now available. So, yes, definitely, whenever we start something, definitely there are challenges. So, I am not an exception in that. But when the idea is well received, so it's like half battle already won. So, you need not to convince people that this is my idea, please buy, please buy, please buy. So that was completely well taken care automatically. So I immediately started getting calls, and I immediately started getting some responses from people. So money wise, I never experienced any challenge, because from the day one I was getting a lot of queries, and I never experienced any any challenge in converting a customer and finding a challenge in getting the monies back from the customer. So it was never a challenge. The challenge was making people understand that why driving in general is important. So it depends on multiple factors. When the disability occurs, what is the nature of disability? So for instance, if the disability is because of a road accident, so the natural reaction to it is that now I'm not going to go back on the road, and any other, they are kind of apprehensive about going back on the road. So nature of the disability is kind of very much challenging. Then disability is not an individual phenomena, it's a family phenomena and societal phenomena. So if a person is disabled in your home, then your parents, your siblings, your relatives, everybody is affected. So they are more concerned about it. So the concern, because they have never seen anybody driving, so there is always apprehension which comes in the minds of parents. So I had to face challenges in convincing them, though they were liking the idea, but then they were not believing the fact that is it possible at the first place. So that's how these basic challenges came into picture. Then another challenge which I recently experienced is because of Corona. Okay, when
Okay.
I
Yeah.
started somewhere in the month of, say, um, technically, like formally, I started in August 2019 after quitting my job of IIM Amritsar. Then, yeah, I came back home. I started running it full fledgedly. People would come to. I'm based out of Jaipur now, so people would come and learn, and they go. But then during Corona times, there is this dilemma state because of Corona. People want it more, and I am not able to provide driving sessions because of that physical distancing thing. So it's a very big
I
challenge
understand.
which I'm experiencing. Yeah. So I'm trying to overcome it. I'm trying to create more knowledge, understand. I'm trying to create more information and bring more information to people with disabilities and their family members by creating YouTube videos. So I have a YouTube channel which talks about a lot on this aspect, that how, why, where, which car to buy, all those kind of things. So we are creating information. So I think that in the hindsight, it is a positive thing that I'm not training people, but I'm creating that information base which people are looking for and generally they are confused about. So that is happening nowadays.
So
Otherwise, no challenge.
So, Dr. Anita, so that means, you're receiving a lot of inbound calls. So, for you to reach your target audience, I don't think it's a challenge then, because there is a virality around what you do, and there is something that people look up to, right? So I think there
Mhm.
is a lot of word of mouth that spreads and you reach your audience that way, or you have to kind of struggle to get to your audience and then inspire them to take up this challenge.
So Monica, what happened? I'll give you a very small example over here. So when the moment I started, how I started actually. So I put my post on two-line statement on Voice of Amritsar. I was in Amritsar then, and Voice of Amritsar had it's a YouTube Facebook page, and it has around more than 1 lakh people added on that page. So I simply posted one statement that I'm new in Amritsar and I teach people with disabilities how to drive a car. You won't believe, in 2 days, I got calls, close to 13, 14 calls, and I got a call from one journalist from the Tribune. And
Wonderful.
she came to me. She did a small interview with me, a newspaper article, very small article. And then that article actually went to many people. And that's how things started automatically. Then there is like a viral thing, that one post, then another newspaper, then another article, then another TV channel. So it automatically spread. I did not spend any money on marketing of the service or the product I had. So it automatically happened. I had zero budget, zero investment in marketing. Actually, I did not do anything. It automatically happened.
But the content speaks, right? You had such a brilliant offering for your audience. So I'm sure that's how the entire hook kind of emerged. Okay, so it's also interesting to know that you're the founder of the Inkpot Hub. So could you tell something about it and what's so unique about it?
So Monica, now I believe, if I look back my journey, I believe that I think I am an entrepreneur by birth. So there is always this debate, by birth or by experience. So I think I am an entrepreneur by birth. In my childhood, I have done a lot of rebellious things at home. So I can easily relate that to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a rebel as well, to break the norms and break the normal course of action. So Inkpot Hub is again coming from my personal life narratives. I'm a researcher, I'm a professor, and I found that a lot of people, as scholar, as researchers, struggle very hard during the PhD journey, during writing those papers, and coming out with that impact and all. But there is no platform to celebrate their journey. There is no platform which talks about how to prepare for the PhD from, say, I am Indore. So we thought that, I was working with my student, and my student and I decided that let's create a platform which talks about enriching the research journey and celebrating the research journey of professors, scholars. And so we wanted to recognize their work, we wanted to celebrate their work. So that's why Inkpot Hub happened. And it is India's first platform which works towards enriching and celebration of the researcher's journey. So that's how it started. So it's mainly capturing, featuring professors, scholars, and research people who are doing research. So we are just bringing their stories and instilling hope in other future potential researchers. And yeah, so that is how it is coming up well now.
Tell me how this brand is going to solve the industry issue in the coming years, because it's at a nascent stage. So how do you see this brand shaping up and solving this issue?
There's an interesting thing which happened very recently. The new education policy, which is coming, in a very big way, and we are going to implement by 2013 in a very big way. So you can imagine that if your school education is based on research, if you are, inculcating and instilling that mindset of research in young minds, so there is a huge scope to see that can we work towards enrichment of research mindset of young kids, so that when they enter in their higher education space, they think that research is one of the career options and we can go about it. So generally in India, what is happening is all those traditional so-called careers like engineer, doctor, MBA, CA, these all are good, they are happening. But then when you talk about research, research is not something which we say, okay bacche PhD kar lena or professor ban jana. We never talk
Mm-hmm.
about it.
I
I have never
agree.
heard anybody talking about it.
Right, right,
So we
right.
are we are actually trying to build that space, that if you talk about more role models, if you talk about, okay, this is also celebratory, we can live a very peaceful and respectable life being a professor, being a scholar as well. So yeah, so that's how we are thinking that Inkpot Hub as a brand should reach to every household, wherein starting from the school days, a parent should know, okay, research is one of the choices my child can, research is one of the career options my child can go for. So that's how we are trying to address. And this, yes, the new education policy is really very helpful in that regards.
I understand. So, is it a country specific phenomenon, or you are seeing this happening across the globe? Because I understand that developed countries kind of would have a very different view of research, because I have my friends in US, and then they kind of say that, look, PhD is something which is kind of very respected, well respected. So do you think it's a phenomenon of our country?
The PhD in India is also respectful. Somebody who is doing PhD is always appreciated and taken well care of, and they are respectable careers. The point is that the the outcome is not immediate. It takes time, and in India, we do not have that patience wherein you can see outcome later. Okay, so we want a quick fix things. Okay, MBA कर लिया, इतने लाख का जॉब चाहिए, और उसके
Exactly.
बाद में 10-12 साल बाद we realize, okay, let's go for PhD now because we have learned so much in our career, corporate career. Now we want to go back to academia and give what we have learned. But then this giving comes when you do inches wide, miles deep research in that. Okay, is this phenomena existing in the literature or not, already done, researched well or not? So people take PhD very seriously when they know that they now have an experience to give back to society, and one of the ways is doing a PhD and entering in the academic world, becoming a professor. So that's the whole notion of people in India specifically. And yes, PhD is like, it's like a pyramid thing.
Hmm.
Only a few go for higher studies.
I
Okay,
agree.
and
Right.
it's not an aspirational thing. because it is time consuming, it is a lone journey, and it takes a lot of efforts to get through the PhD program.
So, Dr. Anita, you're managing two distinct brands and that too effortlessly.
Hmm.
I'm sure our viewers and the budding entrepreneurs would love to know how you're doing this and what will you advise them to make to kind of do so that they excel and make a difference in their life.
Okay, Monica, I'll split this question in two parts. One, I'm handling two brands, and another, and two very distinct products which we are selling. One is in social thing, and another is, and it's social. It's not social, but it's definitely a for-profit company and social enterprise for profit. And Inkpot Hub is a completely commercial venture. And you need to believe me that it's really maddening to handle these two things, and you have to
I'm
have this
sure.
blend of your left and right brain, and then only you are able to manage it. But I really struggle hard to find, sometimes I miss this, sometimes I miss that. So nowadays I'm realizing that I need to be more structured and focused on certain aspects. I cannot be entrepreneurial all my life. I need to structure certain things. So the moment you structure, I think 40% of the problems are resolved automatically, because there is a standard operating procedure for that. I can just simply hand over those procedures and standard operating procedures to the person. That person can take care of it very well. So I need not to intervene, and I need not to explain it to every other person that what is going on. So that is something which I have done recently. And your next part, the purpose, or something which is related to my advice to young entrepreneurs. Okay. So, Monica, my response to this question, because I get this question every now and then these days, my response to this question is that an entrepreneur or non entrepreneur, it doesn't matter at all. What matters is, did you find your purpose of being? Why are you doing what are you doing? So if you are a non-entrepreneur, you need to know that what are you doing and why are you doing it. So a corporate manager, a doctor, a CA, whatever they are doing, they need to know why they are doing. Same is with an entrepreneur. So for an entrepreneur, because they leave a lot of other things and they work for one purpose, one idea, so that idea
Absolutely.
becomes their purpose. Yes.
Mhm.
So being a doctor or being a manager or being somebody, being even a housewife, you need to know the purpose why it is important, or house husband for that matter, why you are doing it. So that's the thing. I think when you know why you are doing, I think that resolves all the problem. Yeah. So that is something which I can share from my journey, my experiences.
It's so wonderful to know your journey, your initial challenges, and how you overcame all the challenges. I think your story has inspired us a lot today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your unique story.
My pleasure, Monica. It is indeed a pleasure. And I am very happy to be a part of my big brand story. So I think I'm very happy to share that. Okay, a big brand means, it automatically comes in my mind. Okay, कभी import हम या on my own कोई big brand बन पाएगा. So I think you are giving me a hope that it will definitely become a big brand someday. I'm hoping. I'm hopeful.
Thank you so much. We wish you all the success. We wish you all the luck. And
Thank
soon
you.
we'll have you share your success story, and we'll like to have you again on our discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.